Thank you for tuning in to the Doing Business with God podcast.
Hey, you. Yes, you. I am your host, Michi Renee.
It is Michi's passion to help you live your best life and do business God's way. Michi will be talking about entrepreneurship, manifestation, monetization, mindset, beliefs, starting and growing a business, nonprofit, or ministry, all while serving God. So welcome to My Daddy's Business. It's time for the show. It's the Doing Business with God podcast with your host, Michi Renee.
Hello, tribe. Welcome back to another episode of the Doing Business with God podcast, dedicated to helping you do business God's way. Today, I will be talking to you about the 10 tips to overcoming self-sabotage, to get out of your own way and claim control over your life and your business. Most of us allow people, circumstances, situations, and things to control our lives. In short, we're giving away our personal power under the notion of being accepted, valued, appreciated, and loved. It seems that most of us have lost our identity and sense of self in one way or another. And we generally don't say anything because we don't want to offend anyone. We don't want to be unkind. But sometimes you got to forget that. You have to make waves. And guess what? We can take back control of our lives and businesses while still being that kind, generous, and thoughtful person who also happens to be strong, confident, assertive, productive, successful, and powerful. And no, we don't have to compromise our beliefs, who we are, our goals, character, or core values to do so. Overcoming self-sabotage can be the most important step towards living a life of purpose, value, authenticity, and spiritual connectedness. The following tips are very helpful, but are not always comfortable or easy to implement. I am glad you're ready to work at it. Not every tip will be right for you. Do what you feel is right in your heart. These tips will be straightforward and to the point. Some may offend you, so take notice if you are triggered. That means you've found an area where there's room for growth. If you are not triggered by any of these, then you are perfect. Or maybe you should just take a closer look or a closer read and reevaluate. After all, nobody's perfect, right? Exactly. So let's get to work. So tip number 1, stop trying to fit in. You are unique. Be the best version of yourself. Allow yourself to stand out. Be a leader and not a follower. With this one, in more ways than one, you are looking not to rock any boats. You're looking to stay below the radar and to simply live life without any conflict. In those moments, you may believe it's simply easier to just fit in, to compromise, to bite your tongue. And I can understand having that mentality on occasion. However, over the long term, this kind of behavior and thinking will set you up for unhealthy relationships, for stagnation, disconnection, frustration, misery, and desperation. In order to stop self-sabotage, you will need to make the choice to be courageous, to be uncomfortable, to step outside of your comfort zone, to learn, to grow, and to adapt to new things. Maybe that's getting new people in your life.
At Travel Genie, we make your travel dreams come true. We customize your trip. We create itineraries, book airfare, hotels, cars, and event tickets. We don't just book travel. We create experiences. Travel Genie has 4 trips planned for 2021. San Francisco, Essence, Toronto, and Bali. A $100 deposit gets you started. Use the link below for more information. Find us on Instagram and Facebook at Travel Genie 2017 and online at travelgenie.com.
Tip number 2, stare fear down. And fear is nothing more than false evidence appearing real. You have to stop allowing fear to keep you held in a death grip. Look it square in the eyes and do whatever it is that's causing you fear. At this stage of the game, there's 2 options you can do. Face everything and run, or face everything and rise. The choice is yours. I highly recommend the latter. Face everything and rise. Tip number 3, pleasing others is not your job. As of today, stop it. No more people pleasing. Be strong, create, and stick to your boundaries. Stop trying to make everyone in your world happy. It's an exercise in futility and frustration that is guaranteed to leave you feeling exhausted and stupid. It's not your job to make anyone happy. You don't have the authority. You don't have the power. It's simply not your job. It's your job to be you and not the you that anyone else wants you to be. It's your authentic self. That's it. If the people around you are not happy, you need to pray for them and allow God to step in and change the situation, change them. You cannot do that. Tip number 4, decide to be victorious. Take responsibility for where you are right now, good, bad, or indifferent. Sometimes bad things happen to good people. Sometimes we've just come into a bad hand, and there's a fine line between victim and victorious. Do you know what that line is? Bottom line, plain and simple, it's the decision that you make. That's it. You just decide. Do you want to be a victim or do you want to be victorious? It's important that you acknowledge what has happened to you so that you can begin to heal from it. While there's not a time limit on healing from trauma, forward movement is always in season. I recently read a t-shirt that says, "This princess saves herself." You be that princess. Decide to be victorious and be an active participant in your own growth and healing. Tip number 5, let your actions do the talking. Stop talking and start doing. As we've all heard, talk is cheap. It's time to take action. Talking is great, but doing is much better. In order to move things forward, you have to take action. Action is a verb. Action means you have to do something. Continuing to talk without forward movement will leave you in one of two places: nowhere because you stay still, or caught in a loop because you make excuses to stop moving. You must